A study published in the Journal of Feline Medicine and Surgery measured what happens inside a cat's urinary system depending on one single variable: whether the food in the bowl is dry or wet. The cats on wet food produced significantly more urine at lower concentration. The cats on dry food produced less urine at higher concentration. The exact condition that leads to crystals, blockages, and emergency surgery. That was one organ, one measurement, one study. But the difference between dry and wet food does not stop at the kidneys. It changes the coat, the weight, the behavior at the food bowl, the energy levels, and even what the litter box tells you about the animal's internal state. 7 things change inside a cat's body when the diet shifts from dry to wet. One thing can go wrong if the shift is handled carelessly, and one thing most people believe about dry food that is not as simple as the internet makes it sound. Change 1. Hydration. Cats evolved as desert hunters. Their ancestors, the African wildcat, got nearly all their moisture from prey. A mouse is roughly 75% water. A can of wet food is roughly the same. Dry kibble is about 10%. A cat eating only kibble is running a chronic moisture deficit every single day. She drinks from the bowl, yes, but cats have a naturally low thirst drive because their biology assumes the food itself provides most of the water. The body compensates. The kidneys concentrate the urine to conserve fluid. The system works. Until it does not. The study mentioned at the start of this video showed the difference in hard numbers, but the implication goes beyond the urinary tract. When the body is chronically short on water, every system downstream is affected. Digestion slows, skin dries, the blood thickens slightly, making the heart work harder to move it. Wet food does not cure dehydration. It prevents the body from having to compensate for it in the first place. Change 2. Kidneys. This follows directly from hydration, but deserves its own point because the consequences are long-term. A cat's kidneys are not designed to process highly concentrated waste for years on end. Chronic kidney disease is one of the leading causes of death in cats over 10 years old. The mechanism is not dramatic, it is slow. Years of filtering concentrated urine gradually damages the nephrons. By the time blood work shows elevated kidney values, a significant percentage of function is already gone. Wet food does not cure kidney disease, but it reduces the daily load on the organ by keeping the urine diluted naturally. Every veterinary nephrologist will say the same thing. More water through the system means less stress on the kidneys. For a cat eating dry food, the kidneys work harder every single day than they need to. Change 3. Weight. Most owners who try to help an overweight cat start by reducing the amount of food. Less kibble, same type. The cat loses a little weight, gets hungrier, starts begging, and the owner gives in. The cycle repeats. The problem is not quantity, it is composition. Dry kibble contains between 30 and 50% carbohydrates depending on the brand. Cats are obligate carnivores. Their metabolism is built to run on protein and fat, not carbs. The body stores excess carbohydrates as fat because it has no efficient pathway to use them as energy. Wet food is naturally higher in protein, lower in carbs, and the moisture adds volume. A cat eating wet food feels physically full on fewer calories because protein triggers a stronger satiety signal than carbohydrates do. Research from the Waltham Centre confirmed that cats on wet diets maintained leaner body composition even when allowed to eat freely. The cat is not eating less, she is eating what her metabolism can actually use. Change 4. Coat. This is the first change most owners notice, usually within 2 to 3 weeks. A cat's fur is made of protein. The skin underneath depends on fatty acids. When the diet is low in bioavailable animal protein, or when the nutrients are degraded by the high heat processing that kibble requires, the body triages. Essential organs get the protein first. The coat gets whatever is left. On a wet food diet, the protein is closer to its natural form, less processed, more bioavailable. The body stops rationing. Fur gets softer. Shedding decreases. That greasy or dusty texture that some kibble-fed cats carry starts to disappear. One of my cats, Cleo, had a rough, patchy coat for the first year after adoption. 3 weeks after switching to wet food, the texture changed. Not dramatically, but enough that visitors started commenting on it. The coat is the body's report card. When the grades improve, the change started inside. Change 5. Food bowl behavior. A cat that screams when someone walks toward the kitchen, inhales food in 30 seconds, and starts pacing an hour later is not greedy. She is unsatisfied. Kibble digests fast. The carbohydrates spike blood sugar, the sugar drops, and hunger returns. The cycle is short, sometimes under 2 hours. The cat learns that food disappears quickly and fullness does not last, so she develops urgency. She eats faster, she guards the bowl, she wakes the household at 4 in the morning. Wet food breaks this cycle. The protein creates a longer satiety curve. The moisture adds physical volume to the stomach, triggering stretch receptors that signal fullness. A study in the Journal of Veterinary Behavior confirmed that cats on high-protein diets showed less food-seeking behavior between meals. The change is visible. The screaming decreases, the pacing slows, meals become quieter, the cat eats, feels done, and walks away. In a multi-cat household, this shift is even more noticeable. 2 of my 5 cats used to guard their bowls aggressively on dry food. Within a month of switching, the guarding stopped entirely. Not because they became nicer, because the panic left. Change 6. Energy. This one surprises people. A cat that sleeps 18 hours a day is not necessarily lazy. She might be running on the wrong fuel. Carbohydrates provide quick energy followed by a crash. Protein and fat provide sustained, stable energy over a longer period. Cats on wet food diets often show a subtle but noticeable increase in active periods. More play, more exploration, more engagement during the hours they are awake. The total sleep hours may not change much, but the quality and intentionality of the waking hours shifts. The cat is not just awake, she is present. I noticed this most clearly with Dusk. On dry food, his active window was about 2 hours in the evening, and then he was done. After the switch, the window stretched to 3.5, sometimes 4 hours. Same cat, same apartment, same routine. The only variable was the bowl. He did not become a different animal. His body just had better fuel to work with. Change 7. The litter box. Nobody talks about this, but it is one of the clearest diagnostic tools in the house. A cat on dry food produces small, hard, concentrated stool and urine with a strong odour. A cat on wet food produces softer, more frequent stool and diluted urine with less smell. The litter box is reading the internal state of the cat every single day. When the output changes, the input changed first. If the stool is consistently softer, the hydration improved. If the urine smell decreases, the kidneys are filtering less concentrated waste. With 5 cats and multiple litter boxes, this difference was impossible to miss after the switch. The boxes needed cleaning more often because of volume, but the smell in the room dropped noticeably. The box is not just a chore, it is data. Now the risk. Wet food spoils. Kibble can sit in a bowl all day with minimal bacterial growth. Wet food cannot. The moment wet food reaches room temperature, bacteria begin multiplying. Depending on the ambient temperature, the safe window is about 2 hours. A cat that grazes, eats a little, walks away, and returns an hour later may be eating food that is no longer safe. The solution is not complicated. Remove uneaten wet food after 2 hours, refrigerate the unused portion from the can and use it within 48 hours, and do not serve it cold. Cats prefer food closer to body temperature because it mimics fresh prey. A few seconds of warming or a splash of warm water brings it to the right range. This is not a reason to avoid wet food. It is a reason to handle it correctly. One last thing. Dry food is not poison. There are cats that thrive on it for 20 years. There are medical conditions where specific dry formulas are prescribed. The honest position is not dry is bad and wet is good. The honest position is that for the majority of healthy cats, wet food is closer to what their biology was designed to process. And the 7 changes listed above are what happen when the body finally gets what it was built for.